Every financial planner in the United States will tell you that you should have at least $2 million saved up to enjoy a comfortable retirement. Some even suggest you should aim for $3 million. The more cautious ones might say $5 million. The retirement planning sector has created an entire business model that aims to persuade you that achieving financial freedom is incredibly pricey, that you'll need many years of saving and sacrificing, and that retiring before the age of 65 is just a dream for anyone who isn't wealthy. They are all mistaken, not just a little bit, but seriously mistaken, because they are focusing on the wrong thing. They're figuring out how much cash you need to keep up your current lifestyle in your present situation with your existing spending habits. I'm about to share a different perspective. I'm going to explain how much money you really need to stop working for someone else forever, to wake up each day and choose how to spend your time based on what truly matters to you rather than what brings in a paycheck, to have enough passive income so that working becomes a choice instead of a necessity. Those are totally different questions with totally different answers, and the response to the second question, which is the only one that really counts, is $300,000. Not $3 million, not $2 million, $300,000. Now, before you brush this off as unrealistic or overly optimistic or out of touch with reality, let me break down the numbers for you. Let me show you the geographic arbitrage calculations that the financial services sector doesn't want you to know about. Because if you grasped these figures, you'd see that you could achieve freedom in 5 to 10 years instead of 30 or 40. And they'd miss out on decades of management fees and commissions. This isn't just a pipe dream. This is basic math. It's been accurate for a century and will remain so for the next 100 years. And it all begins with grasping what retirement truly means. The retirement planning industry has led most folks to believe that retirement is about keeping their pre-retirement lifestyle going forever. If you're shelling out $70,000 a year while you're on the job, you'll need to have enough cash to keep spending that same amount every year for the rest of your life once you retire. That sounds reasonable until you dig into the details. The first thing to consider is whether you really want to keep spending the same way. Not quite. A lot of what people spend in retirement is just to cope with the pressures and time crunch of working. Think about it. Fancy dinners because you don't have the time to whip up a meal at home. New outfits for the office. Lavish vacations since you only get a couple of weeks off each year. A nice ride because your daily commute is a drag and you feel you deserve some comfort. Plus, you might splurge on entertainment and hobbies just to unwind from the work grind. But take away the job and a lot of that spending isn't needed anymore. You've got time to cook. Work attire, not necessary. You can travel when prices are lower. No more commuting. You're not stressed out, so you don't need those pricey ways to cope. The real expense of enjoying a good life without a job is anywhere from 30 to 50% lower than living that same life while employed. Now, let's assume you're sticking to the same location. Why's that? If your job is what keeps you tied to a pricey city, why hang around once the job is gone? The cost of living difference between San Francisco and Lisbon is a whopping 70%. When you compare New York to Chiang Mai, it's 85%. And between Seattle and Medellin, it's 75%. You can enjoy a much better quality of life in countless spots around the globe for just a fraction of what you're currently shelling out. Think about it. Nicer weather, tastier food, richer culture, more time outside, closer to nature, and stronger communities. The only reason not to think about these places is if you're held back by a job or family ties. Cut those ties and suddenly the whole world opens up at prices that make retirement achievable with way less money. Now let's talk about the idea that you need to replace your income. That's not quite right. What you really need to do is cover your expenses. Those are two different figures. A lot of folks mix up income with expenses because during their working years, those figures are connected. Your earnings dictate how much you can spend. However, when you retire, income doesn't really matter. What counts are your expenses. If you can get by comfortably on $18,000 a year, you don't need to worry about replacing your income. You just need $18,000 annually. This is where the math gets fascinating. If you invest $300,000 wisely in dividend-paying stocks that yield 4%, you can pull in $12,000 a year in passive income without dipping into your principal. That breaks down to $1,000 a month. In the United States, $1,000 a month is considered poverty. In Portugal, it's a decent middle-class lifestyle. In Thailand, it's seen as upper middle class. In Colombia, Vietnam, Albania, or many other places, it's enough to rent a nice place, eat well, access health care, enjoy some entertainment, and even save a bit. It's not just about surviving, it's about comfort, security, and freedom. The financial services sector doesn't really want you to know this because their whole model relies on holding on to your money as long as they can. If they were to let you in on the fact that $300,000, when used wisely, could provide you with endless freedom, you might choose to retire at 40 instead of 65. That's 25 fewer years of fees they can rake in. So what do? They sell you on fear. They present you with inflation calculators that assume you'll be spending the same amount for 40 years straight. They give you projections for healthcare costs that rely on you using the pricey American system. They pull out longevity charts that imply you might live until 95 and require funding for 50 years. Everything is set up to keep you saving, working, and paying fees for years on end. Here's something they don't tell you. Imagine taking $300,000 and investing it in a well-diversified mix of dividend-paying stocks and low-cost index funds. Aim for a 4% return through a blend of dividends and safe withdrawals. That would bring in $12,000 a year or $1,000 a month. All right, let's talk about finding a spot where $1,000 a month lets you live comfortably. We're not talking about anything fancy or luxurious, just a nice, cozy life. Think about a one-bedroom place in a safe area. You can whip up good meals at home and treat yourself to a meal out every now and then. You've got access to local health care, either through the national system or some affordable private insurance. Don't forget your internet and phone. You can enjoy some low-key entertainment and hobbies and maybe take a trip or two within the region. This kind of lifestyle can be found in places like Portugal, Spain, Greece, Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Albania, Bulgaria, and at least 30 other countries. In a lot of these spots, $1,000 a month isn't just getting by. It's actually living pretty well by local standards. You'll find better weather than in most American cities, a richer food culture, a healthier work-life balance, more walkable neighborhoods, better public transport, and stronger community ties. The quality of life here isn't any worse than what you'd find in the American middle class. It's often even better. The only thing you're really letting go of is being close to your family and friends, which is a huge deal for some folks and not so much for others. If you're in a position where you can be flexible with where you live, $300,000 is truly enough to retire comfortably for good. This isn't just a theory, it's a reality. There are tens of thousands of people living this lifestyle right now. The community of those enjoying geographic arbitrage in retirement is expanding. Many have figured out that the retirement calculators suggesting they need $2 million are based on keeping up an expensive lifestyle in a pricey area, and that a whole different set of numbers comes into play if they're open to relocating. Now, let's tackle the common concerns because I've heard them all. The first concern is about health care. Healthcare in America can be incredibly costly without employer support. But remember, American healthcare isn't the only game in town. Most developed nations have public healthcare systems that are either free or pretty affordable for their residents. For instance, Portugal's National Health Service provides coverage for residents, including foreign retirees, for under $50 a month. Spain's system is quite similar. Numerous countries also have private health insurance options for foreign residents, with prices ranging from $100 to $300 a month for comprehensive plans. In Thailand, private hospitals deliver top-notch care at costs that are only 10 to 20% of what you'd pay in the United States. Medical tourism has become a huge industry because healthcare in many parts of the world is just a fraction of American prices. For example, a knee replacement that sets you back $40,000 in the US costs around $8,000 in Spain and just $4,000 in Thailand. You get the same results: skilled surgeons and modern facilities. The argument against retiring abroad based on healthcare often assumes that American healthcare is the best, which may hold true for cutting-edge experimental treatments, but is not the case for everyday care. When it comes to regular care, many nations provide similar or even better results at significantly lower prices. Now, let's tackle the second concern. What about inflation? That's a fair point. A withdrawal rate of 4% assumes that your initial amount keeps its buying power. If you're taking out $12,000 each year and inflation is at 3%, your actual ability to withdraw decreases over time. There are 3 ways to handle this. First, keep your $300,000 invested in stocks, which have historically outpaced inflation. If the market gives you a 7% return and you're withdrawing 4%, your principal grows by about 3%, roughly keeping up with inflation. This way, your $12,000 yearly withdrawal still holds its value. Second, many folks who retire in places with lower costs find ways to earn a little extra cash. They might teach English online, do freelance consulting, run small online businesses, or create content. When you're living on $12,000 a year, bringing in an additional $3,000 or $4,000 from occasional gigs can make a significant impact and is pretty easy to pull off without needing a conventional job. All right, let's break it down. First off, we've got the flexibility in our lifestyle. When inflation chips away at your buying power by around 15 or 20% over 10 years, you've got to make some changes. Maybe you find a neighborhood that's a bit more affordable. You start whipping up more meals at home instead of dining out. You cut back on travel. The gap between $12,000 in yearly expenses and just getting by is pretty significant in countries where living costs are lower. A few small tweaks can help you keep a decent quality of life, even if your buying power takes a hit. Now, let's talk about the third concern: family and friends. That's a valid point. Retiring through geographic arbitrage usually means you're away from your current social circle unless they decide to follow you. For some folks, that's just not an option. You might have aging parents, young kids, or you're just really rooted in your community. If you have strong ties to a place due to responsibilities you can't shake off, then $300,000 isn't likely to cut it unless you're situated in an affordable part of America. But the truth is, many folks over-exaggerate how connected they really are. Adult kids often don't need you right next door. Regular video chats and yearly trips can keep those bonds strong. As for aging parents, sure, that's a real challenge, but it's usually temporary. There are definitely ways to manage care from afar if needed. Friends tend to drift apart as time goes by, no matter where they are. The pals you had in your 20s aren't necessarily the same ones you keep in your 40s. New friendships pop up wherever you settle down. The retirement community that takes advantage of geographic differences is filled with folks who are anxious about feeling lonely But they discovered that they quickly formed new social circles in their new spots, often even stronger connections than what they left behind, since the shared experience of choosing a different path creates strong ties. I'm not downplaying the impact of being far from family. What I'm saying is that it's a cost that's worth considering honestly, instead of just assuming it's too much. For some, it really is too much. For others, it's a trade-off they're ready to make for years of freedom. Now, on to the fourth concern. What if things go sideways? What if you find yourself needing more cash? What if an emergency pops up? There are two responses. First off, you still have $300,000. It's invested, not gone. If a genuine emergency pops up, you can tap into that money. You're not stuck with the 4% withdrawal rule. It's more of a suggestion for sustainable, long-term withdrawals, not a strict law. If you find yourself needing to take out 8% 1 year due to an emergency, go for it. Your financial runway might get a bit shorter, but you'll manage the situation. Next, the flexibility works both ways. Imagine you leave your job with $300,000 at 40, spend a decade living on $12,000 a year in a low-cost retirement spot, and then decide you want to jump back into the traditional workforce. You can totally do that. You're 50 with $300,000 still in your account, maybe even more if the markets were kind, plus a decade of life experiences that most folks never get to have. You're not stuck in a corner. You're enjoying a 10-year break funded by your savings, with the option to start earning again if your situation or desires shift. Let's make this more tangible with actual figures in real locations, because vague numbers don't really persuade anyone. First scenario: Lisbon, Portugal. You can find a one-bedroom flat in a nice area for around 600 to 800 euros each month, which is roughly $650 to $850. The bills, including internet, come to about $100 monthly. If you're cooking most of your meals at home and eating out occasionally, groceries for one person will set you back around $300 to $400 a month. Healthcare through the Portuguese national system costs about $40 each month. If you use public transport and take a taxi now and then, expect to spend around $50 monthly. Your phone bill will be about $20. For entertainment, hobbies, and other miscellaneous costs, you might spend between $100 to $150 a month. All in all, your monthly expenses will be around $1,200 to $1,400, which adds up to about $14,000 to $17,000 a year. You're living in a stunning European city with amazing food, fantastic weather, safe streets, walkable neighborhoods, and easy access to the rest of Europe with budget flights. Your quality of life is pretty high by any reasonable measure. $300,000 bringing in $12,000 each year gets you pretty close to your goal, with just a little gap that you can fill by doing some freelance gigs or by tightening your budget a bit. Now, let's talk about scenario 2, Chiang Mai, Thailand. You can find a one-bedroom apartment in a nice neighborhood with a pool and gym for around $300 to $400 a month. Utilities, which include high-speed internet, will run you about $50. For food, even if you enjoy dining out at local spots, you're looking at around $300. Private health insurance will cost you about $100. If you need to rent a scooter for getting around, that's another $50. Your phone bill will be around $10, and for entertainment and other odds and ends, budget about $100. So in total, you're looking at roughly $900 to $1,000 a month, which adds up to about $11,000 to $12,000 a year. You'll be living in a vibrant city with amazing food, warm weather all year long, top-notch healthcare at reasonable prices, a strong expat community, and Southeast Asia right at your doorstep for weekend getaways. That $300,000 generating $12,000 annually will cover all of this with some extra cash left over. Now, let's move on to scenario 3, Medi, Colombia. Here, a one-bedroom apartment in the Poblato or Laureles neighborhoods will set you back about $400 to $600 a month. Utilities will be around $70. For food, you can budget about $250. And health insurance will be around $120. Getting around with the subway and cabs costs around $60. Your phone bill is about $15. For fun and entertainment, you might spend around $100. All in all, you're looking at roughly $1,000 to $1,200 each month, which adds up to somewhere between $12,000 and $14,000 a year. You're enjoying life in the city of eternal spring, where the weather is fantastic every single day. Plus, there's an amazing coffee scene, healthcare that won't break the bank, a thriving expat community, and safety that's getting better all the time. $300,000 would cover all this with a little cushion. Now, let's compare that to what it costs to live a basic middle-class life in American cities. In a secondary American city like Austin or Denver, a studio or one-bedroom apartment will set you back at least $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Utilities can run you about $150. If you're cooking most of your meals, food might cost around $500. Health insurance could be anywhere from $400 to $700, depending on your age and plan. If you have a car payment or need transportation, that'll be an additional $300 to $500. Throw in about $60 for your phone and $150 for entertainment, and you're looking at a minimum of $3,000 to $4,000 every month, which totals to around $36,000 to $48,000 a year. To pull in $36,000 annually at a 4% withdrawal rate, you'd need $900,000. If you want to generate $48,000, you're looking at needing $1.2 million. That's 3 to 4 times the amount of money you'd need for a geographic arbitrage retirement if you want a similar or even lower quality of life. This is exactly why the usual retirement advice is so off base. It's based on the priciest scenario possible and labels that as the bare minimum you need. Now let's dive into how you can actually build up $300,000, because the timeline is crucial. If you're 25 and save like crazy, hitting $300,000 is doable by 35 or 40. If you're 45, you can reach it by 50 or 55. If you're already 60, the timeline shifts a bit, but the goal is still way more attainable than $2 million. Here's the breakdown. Let's say you can stash away $2,000 each month, which adds up to $24,000 a year. That's a stretch, but it's doable for someone making $75,000 to $100,000 a year who lives simply and values freedom over spending. If you invest that $24,000 annually in low-cost stock index funds with an average return of 8%, after 10 years, you'll have $360,000. After 15 years, you'll be looking at $670,000. The magic of compound interest really does the heavy lifting if you let it do its thing without pulling out cash or freaking out during market dips. So if saving $2,000 each month feels out of reach, just tweak your timeline. Try saving $1,000 a month, which adds up to $12,000 a year. After 15 years with an 8% return, you'd be looking at around $270,000. It's not quite $300,000, but it's close enough that a few extra years of steady work or moving to a more affordable area could bridge the gap. Fast forward to 20 years, and you'd have about $460,000, which is well above the mark. The key takeaway is that hitting $300,000 is doable within a sensible time frame for folks with middle-class salaries who are ready to save hard and keep their spending in check during their saving years. It's not a walk in the park. It takes commitment and some sacrifices, plus the ability to resist the lifestyle creep that eats up most people's pay raises. but it's achievable in a way that 2 or 3 million just isn't for the average person. Here's a glimpse of what the saving phase looks like in real life. You might be living in an affordable neighborhood or sharing a place with others to keep your housing expenses down. You drive an older vehicle that you take care of yourself. Most of your meals are cooked at home. You pick up extra gigs to boost your earnings. You steer clear of consumer debt altogether. Instead of upgrading your lifestyle, you put every pay increase and bonus into investments. You keep a close eye on your spending to spot any waste. You make the most of your taxes by using retirement accounts. You shy away from pricey hobbies and showing off through consumption. This might sound pretty miserable to folks who are all about enjoying the present, but for those focused on future freedom, it feels liberating. The key difference here is how you prioritize time. If you care more about today's comfort than tomorrow's freedom, you'll likely spend your raises on a fancier apartment, a nicer car, and better vacations. On the flip side, if you value tomorrow's freedom over today's comfort, you'll save those raises and let them grow. Neither approach is wrong. They just reflect different values leading to different results. What I'm saying is that the second option can lead to optional work in about 10 to 20 years, depending on where you start and how much you save. The first option, however, means you'll have to work until you're in your 60s or 70s. A lot of folks say they want freedom, but their spending habits show they actually prefer comfort. The few who truly opt for freedom and adjust their actions accordingly find out that $300,000 in geographic arbitrage can make freedom possible much sooner than they ever imagined. Now, let's tackle one more concern because it's the toughest one for many people. The concern is this: I don't want to leave America. I'm not interested in living in another country, picking up a new language, trying different foods, or being surrounded by a different culture. I just want my current life without the need to work for it. This concern really shows if geographic arbitrage retirement is a realistic option for you. If you're the kind of person who finds their identity and comfort in American culture, the American way of life, being close to family in America, and all the conveniences that come with it, then no, $300,000 probably won't cut it. You might need additional funds to support a fancier lifestyle. However, I'd suggest you take a moment to reflect on whether that desire is truly deep-rooted and genuine or just surface level and situational. A lot of folks assume they'd never be content living overseas, but then they spend a couple of weeks in places like Portugal, Mexico, or Thailand and discover that not only could they find happiness there, they might even feel more fulfilled. Warmer weather can boost your mood. A rich food culture can enhance your health. More walkable neighborhoods can help you stay fit. A slower pace can reduce stress. A vibrant social scene can strengthen relationships. And a lower cost of living can provide a sense of security. Many of the things that contribute to a good life are often more accessible in countries with a lower cost of living than in American cities that are designed primarily for work and consumption. The preference for life in America often comes down to sticking with what you know, rather than seeking out something better. When folks actually try out other options, a good number of them find they like it more. Not everyone, though. Some genuinely find their joy in American culture and systems. And for those individuals, the idea of geographic arbitrage doesn't really apply. However, a lot of people think they belong in that group without ever giving it a shot. I'm suggesting you give it a try before you assume that the only way to retire is by saving up $2 million. Here's a little experiment for you. Take a month off. Spend 4 weeks in a place like Lisbon, Shanghai, or Meidi. Rent a spot on Airbnb. Cook your own meals. Stroll through the neighborhoods, use public transport, hit up a gym, chill at coffee shops, live like a local, not a tourist. Keep a close eye on your spending. By the end of the month, you'll have real data instead of just guesses. You'll find out what it truly costs to live there. You'll see if you could actually be happy in that place. You'll figure out if the trade-offs are worth it. For around $2,000 in total, you can find out if retiring through geographic arbitrage is a good fit for you. That's the most affordable and beneficial financial planning you can undertake. Because if you discover that it works for you, you could cut down your working years by 10 or 20. If it doesn't work out, you gain some important insights about yourself and can tweak your plans as needed. A lot of folks skip this experiment. They think they know the outcome without actually trying it out. Then they end up spending 30 years chasing a retirement goal based on untested assumptions. That's just crazy. Go ahead and test that assumption. Spend a month in Portugal. If you don't like it, you've only lost a month and $2,000. If you enjoy it, you could be looking at decades of freedom. The potential upside of that gamble is huge. Now, let's dive into what life is really like in geographic arbitrage retirement, because the specifics are important. You wake up without needing an alarm. The initial hour of your day belongs to you. Whether it's sipping coffee, diving into a book, jotting down thoughts, working out, or anything else that resonates with you. There are no commutes, no meetings, and no emails demanding your attention. You get to shape your day based on what excites you and how much energy you have, rather than feeling pressured by duties. Perhaps you tackle a little side project that brings in some extra cash. Maybe you pick up a new language. You could be writing, painting, or crafting something. You might choose to exercise, read, and whip up a fancy meal. Or you could catch up with friends over coffee and spend a few hours chatting away. You might even stroll through your city without any specific destination in mind. The framework is entirely up to you. Some folks find this concept quite daunting. Without any outside structure or responsibilities, they struggle to figure out how to fill their time. These individuals aren't the best fit for an early retirement. They thrive on having a job to help them manage their schedule and give their life meaning. On the flip side, there are those who see endless time as the ultimate luxury. They have more passions than hours in the day to chase them. They've spent years feeling stuck, having to trade 40 to 60 hours each week for a paycheck. These folks really shine when it comes to geographic arbitrage retirement. It's crucial to figure out what type you are before diving into this journey. A good way to find out is by observing how you feel during your weekends and vacations. If you find yourself feeling bored and lost without a work routine, you either need a job or you should work on building your ability to direct yourself before you retire. On the flip side, if you feel energized and engaged during your free time, but get frustrated when it's time to head back to work, you're likely to flourish in retirement. This isn't just about how old you are or how much cash you have. It's really about your mindset. The next thing that shifts in geographic arbitrage retirement is your entire relationship with money. While you're employed, money is mostly about earning it. It's all about how much you bring in, whether you received a raise, and how your earnings stack up against others. Every financial choice you make is seen through the lens of your income. When you find yourself in retirement through geographic arbitrage, living off passive income from your investments, money shifts to being all about how you spend and preserve it. You're not focused on maximizing your earnings. Instead, you're looking to make the most of your spending to enhance your quality of life within your set budget. This brings about a totally different mindset. You become acutely aware of what your purchases are worth. A dinner that costs $100 isn't merely $100. It's 1/10 of what you allocate for food each month. Is that specific meal worth the cost? Sometimes yes, often no. It doesn't mean you're being stingy, it means you're being deliberate. You freely invest in things that truly enhance your life and cut back fiercely on things that don't. Over time, you gain a clear understanding of what truly brings you joy versus what you spend money on out of routine or peer influence. Most folks never figure this out because they're always in earning mode. constantly able to spend more by working harder. But when your income is capped and fixed, you have to be smart about your spending. This ends up being one of the major perks of retiring through geographic arbitrage. It's not just about being financially secure, but also about gaining a clearer understanding of your values when you have to make real choices. The third thing that occurs is that your perspective on time expands. When you're in the workforce and thinking about 3 or 4 decades until the usual retirement age, your planning feels pretty limited. You're focused on what's happening this year, this quarter, or even this month. But when you step away from your job at 40 with enough funds to last you indefinitely, you start to think in terms of 40 or 50-year plans. How do you envision your life at 60, 70, or 80? What becomes important over the span of decades instead of just years? This extended time frame shifts everything. Relationships take on greater significance. Your health becomes a bigger priority. The pursuit of knowledge matters more. Meanwhile, status and material possessions become less important. You come to understand that the next 40 years will be influenced by the habits, connections, and skills you cultivate. All right, so here's the deal. A lot of folks don't really think about this because they're stuck in the grind of short-term jobs, yearly evaluations, quarterly goals, and monthly expenses. When you dive into geographic arbitrage retirement, it pushes you to think long-term since you're following a strategy that spans years. At first, this can feel a bit weird psychologically, but eventually it turns into one of the best parts of this way of living. Just to clarify what I'm not saying, I'm not suggesting that everyone should chase after geographic arbitrage retirement. I'm not claiming that $300,000 is sufficient for everyone in every situation. I'm not arguing that living overseas is better than living in America. What I'm getting at is that for a certain kind of person, someone who can be flexible with where they live, has moderate spending habits, can direct their own path, and is open to a different way of life, $300,000 can truly make work optional for as long as they want. This probably applies to about 20 to 30% of people, not everyone, but definitely a significant minority. If you find yourself in that small group, the usual retirement advice suggesting you need 2 or 3 million is completely off base. It could keep you grinding away for many more years than you really need to, since it relies on ideas that don't fit your situation. The retirement planning world tends to use the priciest scenario as the standard and labels everyone else's circumstances as unique cases. I'm here to tell you something different. Retirement through geographic arbitrage should be the standard calculation, while costly domestic retirement should be seen as the exception that needs a solid reason. If you decide to stick around in America and work until you hit 2 million, that's fine. Just make sure it's a choice you genuinely want, not one based on what everyone else thinks is right. Figure out what true freedom would cost you personally, considering how flexible you can be with where you live. Then weigh whether putting in extra years at work is worth the added comfort of staying in the States. For some folks, it is. For others, it isn't. Most folks never take the time to do the math. They just think they need 2 million because that's what the calculators suggest. Here's the last piece of the puzzle. $300,000 at a 4% withdrawal rate brings in $12,000 each year. That's the bare minimum, assuming you have no other income coming in. But nearly nobody in geographic arbitrage retirement has zero extra income. The internet has made it super easy for anyone with skills to earn money from anywhere. Teaching English online can earn you anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour. If you're good at freelance writing, you could make $50 to $100 an hour. Consulting in your professional field can pay you between $100 and $300 an hour. Creating online courses can bring in passive income. Developing small software products can also generate passive income. None of this needs traditional jobs. You can do all of it on your own time from anywhere with an internet connection. If you manage to pull in an extra $3,000 to $6,000 a year from some freelance gigs, your total annual income could jump from $12,000 to $15,000 or even $18,000. That extra cushion means you're not living on the edge. You've got some leeway for inflation, for unexpected big expenses, for trips, or whatever comes your way. A lot of folks who retire in places with geographic arbitrage often discover they can make some money from projects they're genuinely passionate about. Not because they need to, but because when you're not drained from a job, you've got the energy for creative and productive pursuits. This kind of work usually brings in some cash, so a modest income of over $300,000 from engaging projects can lead to a way more comfortable and sustainable lifestyle than just $12,000 from savings alone. The retirement calculators out there assume you'll have zero income after you retire, which might be true for someone who's 70, but not realistic for someone who's 40 or 50. Those in their 40s or 50s who aren't tied down to a 9-to-5 often find ways to earn money doing what they actually love. This income doesn't really feel like work since it's optional and engaging, but it's genuine income that makes the $300,000 baseline more than adequate. So let me break it down for you. $300,000 is plenty to make working for someone else optional if you're okay with living in a more affordable area, keeping your spending in check, staying adaptable, and being open to earning some cash from projects that spark your interest. That's a pretty specific set of circumstances. A lot of folks won't fit into that or might not want to, but for those who do, $300,000 is truly sufficient. This isn't just a theory, it's the real deal. Thousands of people are living this lifestyle right now. The community of geographic arbitrage retirees is real and expanding. They're not struggling, they're not just getting by. They're enjoying comfortable, engaging, and meaningful lives with optional work and plenty of free time. They're diving into hobbies, building relationships, learning new things, and traveling. They're healthier than their counterparts who are still hustling in corporate jobs. They're happier. They show that the usual retirement schedule isn't set in stone, that you don't actually need $2 million, and that you can find freedom way sooner than you've been led to believe. The real question is if you're ready to challenge your beliefs, explore your options, fine-tune your spending, and make some out-of-the-box decisions. If you are, $300,000 and 2026 give you a solid goal and a tight time frame. Begin crunching the numbers. Start putting money aside. Begin scouting out different places. Start developing skills for earning income no matter where you are. Freedom is nearer than you realize. The only thing left to ask is if you want it enough to go after it.